Long-range missiles fly around Taiwan for the first time in more than a quarter of a century. It's part of unprecedented military drills China launched around the island a day after the US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taipei.
The US first made a malicious provocation, and China has been compelled to act in self-defense. So whatever we have done in response as a countermeasure would be justified, firm and resolute.
By sea and by air, Beijing is conducting live fire drills in 6 zones that encircle Taiwan, scheduled to continue until Sunday. Commercial vessels have been forced to detour in one of the world's busiest freight routes. China has also blocked exports and imports of various products to and from Taiwan, as it ramped up economic sanctions to punish the island's government led by President Tsai Ing-wen, who Beijing views as a separatist.
Taiwan has experienced a high level of cyber attacks in recent days amid the visit by U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. The targets of the attacks include convenience stores and train stations, as well as the official website of the Presidential Office, Taoyuan International Airport, and the Ministry of National Defense.
Minister without portfolio Audrey Tang says cyber attacks on Tuesday surpassed 15,000 gigabytes, which is 23 times higher than the previous single-day record.
Sitting before the Russian courts, Brittany Griner is found guilty of the charges brought before her.
I made an honest mistake, and I hope that in your ruling that it doesn't end my life here.
Arrested in Moscow for carrying cannabis vape cartridges back in February, the WNBA player said she had no intention of breaking the law. Unconvinced, the court finds the basketball star guilty of drug smuggling, sentencing her to 9 years in prison and a 1 million ruble fine. Claiming to have accidentally packed the vapes as she flew to Russia to play during the off-season, Brittney Griner says that they were medically prescribed to her by a doctor back home. But medical marijuana isn't legal in Russia.
Say her name.
Breonna Taylor.
Nearly 2.5 years after Breonna Taylor died in a hail of police gunfire during a botched drug raid, igniting a storm of protest across the country. Today, federal prosecutors charged 4 current and former Louisville police officers with civil rights offenses, unlawful conspiracy, unconstitutional use of force, and obstruction in connection with a 26-year-old emergency medical technician's death.
Breonna Taylor should be alive today.
Specifically, Attorney General Merrick Garland accused 3 officers of lying to a judge to get the search warrant being executed that night, as Taylor and her boyfriend slept, neither the target of the raid. Prosecutors say the officers tried to cover up their actions afterwards, with 2 even meeting in a garage late one night and agreeing to tell investigators a false story.
August 5th is now a historic day for South Korea, particularly for its deep space exploration, as its first homegrown lunar orbiter, Danuri, has successfully blasted off to space. And this is how it all happened. Danuri's journey began with the launch from Cape Canaveral in Florida. At exactly 8:08 a.m. Korea time, it soared up to the sky on board SpaceX's Falcon 9 carrier rocket. Then at around 9 a.m., officials said it made it 1,655 kilometers away from Earth. That's where it separated from the rocket it was attached to. It detached at speeds of 10.15 kilometers per second at an altitude of 703 kilometers. Then, at around 9:40 a.m., researchers at Korea Aerospace Research Institute heard some great news. Danuri reportedly made contact with NASA's Deep Space Antenna in Canberra, Australia.
A volcano eruption is creating mesmerizing scenes in Iceland while also causing concern. Fagradalsfjall is located just 20 miles from the capital of Reykjavik. It's also close enough to the country's international airport to spark worries that it could disrupt air travel in and out of Iceland, if not other countries in Europe. Back in 2010, another volcano in Iceland erupted, which resulted in the cancellation of 100,000 flights across the continent. But experts say this eruption doesn't pose any immediate threat to travel plans.